This week's episode of 86 Charles is brought to you by Amazon. Go to 86charles.com and click on the Amazon link before you do your shopping. In the year of our great reptilian overlord, 2016.
You want to get to know someone pretty well by asking them just one question? Ask them what their favorite cereal is. If they say it's nothing, if they don't have one, get out of here. I'm done with you. If you tell me it's something that's not at least a little bit sweet in some way, I don't believe you. And if you say it's Cinnamon Toast Crunch, we might have a future together.
Hi, this is Charles. You are full of bullshit, my friend. I will sue you for everything you have. I will sue your ass.
Welcome to 86 Charles, with your hosts John Darby and Travis Spencer.
And with that, welcome to 86 Charles, Travis Spencer. What's your favorite cereal?
John Derby, this is not a simple question. It's not as easy as your favorite cereal. This has changed over time, you know? As I've grown and become the man that I am. Does hot cereal count?
Yeah.
I used to love the Malto meal. Malto meal used to be my ticket to freedom, man. I love that stuff. And then as I got into marijuana in my stoner days, it was all about Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles. I'll slightly rank Cocoa Pebbles above the other one.
Surprising.
Let me tell you something about
Pebbles guy.
Let me tell you something about Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Cinnamon Toast Crunch can go itself. Possibly the worst, most horrible cereal in the history of mankind. Runs your milk afterward. You're done. I hate cinnamon. Cinnamon's bullshit.
Oh my God. Cinnamon takes a backseat to no one.
And now I'm like granola or cashew, or I don't even eat cereal anymore because I'm a 2 eggs and bacon kind of guy. But if I'd had to have cereal, it would probably be like cashew.
Oh my God. You are
Something.
Exactly the kind of person
With
that
no sugar.
I'm glad we don't live close to each other anymore. This once a week I think is enough. Good Lord. Like,
Well, I was thinking about...
cereal is the best. It's sweet soup, man. It's so good.
Well, see, here's the whole thing with like my sugar addiction. I still have it. Like I gotta have ice cream every once in a while. But honestly, I get the majority of my sugar from my liquor.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I don't need it in cereal. I don't need it in... you know how much sugar whiskey has? I love whiskey. So actually, my cereal of choice now is whiskey.
Now, I will say when I was a kid, I always had cereal for breakfast. But now it's almost strictly my midnight snack kind of a deal.
Yeah,
it's
way too
typically
much
my
sugar.
dessert now at this point, I think.
I do miss some like the occasional Lucky Charms.
Yes.
Although like the whole thing like went off the deep end. You know, it's like they make Lucky Charms now with all marshmallows. And then they made that cereal called Crave. Have you ever seen that stuff?
Oh, yeah.
They're like little chocolate pockets with like little
Yeah, I've had them.
things with
It's not
chocolate
good,
inside.
though.
Like
It's not that good.
it's nuts. It's insane. Like I'm saying, they just went too far, man. It's the high fructose sugar lobby because you know that there's a corn
Good
lobby.
Lord, can you just ruin everything? You can't. I'm not going to let you dominate this cereal conversation with, the high fructose lobby. No, I'm squashing that right now. That's ridiculous.
Mixed
cereal
in
is a treat.
With fluoride in your water, they're trying to ruin your teeth, and they're trying to tell you they got to save them by putting fluoride in the water. Everybody's getting paid. Everybody's getting paid but me. So I'm not gonna play your cereal game, bro.
I'm going to give a shout out to the two best cereals that they don't make anymore. One from the 80s, E.T. cereal. It was peanut butter flavored. It tastes very similar to the Reese's peanut butter puff cereal that exists now.
That's
which
garbage.
I hate when I feed into your point. But it tastes similar to that, but not quite the same. And more recently, Kellogg's made a Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory cereal. No, it's not as bad as it sounds. It was actually, like, the worst of it was, like, they just had, like, little chunks of chocolate in there. And then it was, like, almonds and flakes and things like that. But it was ridiculously good. And at no point are any of those part of a complete breakfast. I don't care what any commercial ever said. At no point was that ever part of a complete breakfast. That was dessert, but it was incredible. Man, I can't believe you just poop on cereal. You are the worst.
love, Count Chocula when I'm watching my cartoons. Let's go. Pour the milk in the bowl, make sure it's ice cold. Hold my hand on the top so it won't overflow. Forget playing outside with my friends from school. It's Saturday morning, fool.
Is that what you're having for breakfast?
Sure. Haven't you heard? Fiber is really good for you.
Well, there's fiber, and then there's high fiber. Try this.
Amazon.
Sounds delicious. But is it really higher in fiber than my oat bran cereal?
Take a guess. How many bowls of your oat bran cereal would it take to equal the fiber content of one bowl of
Amazon?
2.
Guess again.
3.
A little higher.
4.
Keep trying.
5.
No, you'll have to do better than that.
7.
Guess again.
8.
We'll give you one more guess.
9.
Not even close. It would take over 30,000 bowls. To get that much oat bran, you'd have to eat 10 bowls a day every day for 8.5 years.
Wow! I think I get the picture! That must be the highest fiber cereal on the market!
Not anymore. Now that there's
86charles.com. Click on Amazon.
it would take over 2.5 million bowls of your oat bran cereal to equal the fiber content of one bowl of
Amazon.
I'm convinced.
Colon Glow and new Super Colors. Warning, may cause abdominal distress. Consult a physician.
Nickel.
Nickel, what? 5 topics currently trending. Travis.
John Derby. Have you ever had a creepy Uber driver?
No.
Well, that's good. Because there's a new ride-hailing service that's trying to improve women's safety by banning men. The woman-only ride-hailing service is called Chariot for Women. It's based in Boston, and it's scheduled to start April 19th. The company owner is named Michael Pellets, and his wife is Kelly. And they came up with the idea after a scary experience with an unstable passenger. He imagined how much more terrifying it would have been if he were a woman, and remembered that his wife had thought about driving for Uber but was too afraid to. So Chariot for Women will only hire women drivers and will only accept women or children under 13 as passengers. Drivers will undergo intense background checks and will have to answer a security question every workday to confirm their identity. Passengers and drivers will be sent the same safe word so that the passengers can confirm the driver is who she says she is. There's also no surge in pricing. Transgendered women are welcome as both drivers and passengers, and 2% of every fare will be donated to women-based charity, and customers can choose from a list of who they actually donate to. So, on the surface, I think it seems like a good idea. Anytime we can create an idea that's safer for everybody,
Sure.
it's a good thing. But then you're going to fall into some problems. This article has a couple issues like civil rights. They could get sued by a men's group who thinks that they're not going to get these jobs, which is ridiculous, I think. But then you get into like the transgender things and the definition of what someone is who's transitioning, right? Where will they fall into the women only? And then, of course, if there are women drivers who are transphobic, you're going to get that as well. It mentions this. So, I don't know. I hope it works out.
Yeah, I think it's
It'll
a
be
good
safer
idea
for
on
women.
the surface. And I think if people take it for what it's supposed to be and try to not be, because anybody that wants to get upset about it or feel offended or feel excluded, sure, you can make a case, because anytime you say we're only going to ... someone feels excluded or discriminated against. But the intention is to make women feel safe, and I think that's a good thing. I don't know why there should be any sort of uproar about that. And if it comes out that, hey, men are like, hey, I'm not comfortable with women drivers, then make a service that's only men. Okay, fine. Who cares?
Right.
Whoever you want to drive you home, let them drive you home. It's better than driving drunk, and that's what we're trying to prevent. So
it's sad, really, I guess, that we have to do this, but it's a rational concern because of the problems of this new ride-sharing thing. And before that, it was a problem with taxi drivers or whatever.
Sure.
Saying like there's always going to be that problem.
all right, moving on. Tucson woman.
Oh,
Yes.
T-Town.
Anytime I see one, I'm going to do the story. A woman lost in the Arizona forest for 9 days, survived by drinking pond water, eating plants, and spelling out help on the ground with sticks. Ann Rogers, who was 72, went missing on March 31st in the White Mountains of eastern Arizona. She was on her way from Tucson to Phoenix to see her grandkids, and somewhere along the way got lost. She was driving her hybrid. She ran out of gas and electric power somewhere near the Fort Apache Reservation. And yeah, she lasted for 9 days, ended up starting a signal fire, and they found her. They don't know how she ended up where she ended up, but they said that the drive from Tucson to Phoenix is a straight shot on Interstate 10, which does not run through the area where she was found.
This story raises more questions than it answers.
I think it's an interesting story that a 72-year-old woman survived for 9 days.
I think this is exactly what happens when you see a story about somebody from Tucson and you're like, oh, I'm just going to assume that this is going to be an interesting story because I'm from Tucson.
Well, the headline is actually just "Woman Lost 9 Days in Arizona Forest, Wrote Help in Sticks." So that's why I clicked on that. And then it says Tucson, and I said,
sticks.
Interesting.
I mean, she seems fairly healthy if she survived for 9 days at 72. She's probably
But we
could've
talked about
walked
it earlier.
somewhere
It's like,
in 9 days.
How could you not have come up? And kudos to her for laying the sticks and lighting the fire and all that. But in 9 days, how could you not have done something else? I feel like.
Next, John.
Yes.
Do you text when you drive?
Nope.
Thank God. It's very dangerous.
Very.
We're all familiar with the breathalyzer, the brand name for a roadside device that measures a suspected drunken driver's blood alcohol level. It has been used for decades. Now there's a so-called textalyzer device to help the authorities determine whether someone involved in a motor vehicle accident was unlawfully driving while distracted. The technology is being developed by a company called Cellbrite. It's the same Israeli firm that many believe assisted the FBI in cracking the iPhone at the center of the encryption battle with the San Bernardino terrorists. Under the first-of-its-kind legislation proposed in New York, drivers involved in accidents would have to submit their phone to roadside testing from a textalyzer to determine whether the driver was using a mobile phone ahead of a crash. In a bid to get around the Fourth Amendment right to privacy, the textalyzer allegedly would keep conversations, contacts, numbers, photos, and application data private. It would solely say whether the phone was in use prior to the motor vehicle mishap. Further analysis, which might require a warrant, would be necessary to determine whether such usage via hands-free dashboard technology or something else would confirm the original finding. So this is a good step, I think, because if people are actually worried that they're going to get in trouble for texting while driving, that would curb a lot of it, right?
Well, they already issued tickets for it. There already should be at least.
How many people do you know that have ever gotten a ticket from texting and driving?
I do actually know someone.
Really? The actual texting thing, I think, is a slipper because it's hard to prove. Everybody holds their phone down in their lap and texts while, you stop, text, look up. Oh, I haven't driven. You get honked at 4 times, then you drive,
Yes, I know how you do it.
This is a good thing. I don't text and drive. I don't actually do either, ever.
Yeah.
I don't text. I don't drive. I don't text and drive. This is the desert life, bro. I walk barefooted without technology.
It sounds terrible. All right. To at least a slightly more heartwarming story. Harrison Ford sold his jacket from the new Star Wars The Force Awakens. Sweet little leather piece. He sold it at auction for charity for $191,000. More than 50 people bid on the jacket. It started at $15,000. He did autograph it. And it culminated in, quote, a nail-biting finish. The proceeds from the auction will support the NYU Medical Center and finding a cure for epilepsy and seizures. Harrison Ford has a daughter with epilepsy. And yeah, that's about it. Signed Harrison Ford jacket, 191 G's.
I think we've just gone too far with this Star Wars stuff, man. We've gone too far.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I liked it. I liked Force Awakens. I think it was great. And this is all for a good cause.
People obsess
but
over things.
Now that they're going to be pumping one out every year, I'm burnt out. Can't do it.
How are you burnt out?
Can't do it anymore. I'm burnt out.
I get
Star Wars,
if you're
man,
saying
it's too much.
on Star Wars movies or Star Wars fans.
Fans, stories, branding, advertising, cartoons, like it's just.
I thought you're
once
so
Disney bought it,
unplugged
you
out
knew
in the
this was gonna
desert.
happen.
How is it even affecting you? You may as well be on Tatooine.
I see everything. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm connected through the Force, bro. I'm connected through the Force to the Star Wars propaganda. I came out here just for the Force, and then Disney bought
Are you
them.
trying to spin this into
like,
you're the
it's too
light
much.
side? Because I don't buy that.
You'd be surprised. Let's talk about some actual science.
Please.
How about that? Stephen Hawking and Russian billionaire Yuri Milner are teaming up in a $100 million hunt for alien life that will rely on a fleet of postage-sized stamps.
Postage stamp size?
Let me try that again. Totally. Postage stamp size spacecraft to explore the universe. These little robots. Just kidding. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg will also join the team on the board of Breakthrough Starshot in the philanthropic initiative to focus on space exploration and the search for life in the universe. Astronomers believe an Earth-like planet could exist within the habitable zone of Alpha Centauri,
Yeah, Alpha
the
Centauri.
closest star system to Earth, about 25 trillion miles or about 4.37 light years away. So these little tiny light-propelled spacecraft called nanocrafts. They're not called robots, John Derby. They're called nanocrafts.
We discussed that ad nauseum.
They have their goal is to reach the star system in 20 years. So in 20 years, they might reach it, and then it would take about 4 years to send back information at the speed of light.
Well, that's a lot faster than we could do it currently.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's because of their size, and they're also powered by light, essentially. Like they're light powered.
Do you have the same article that I do? It says, using today's fastest spacecraft, it would take about 30,000 years to reach Alpha Centauri.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That's
insane.
crazy.
That's insane. So we could, in 24 years, we could have actual pictures and data from Alpha Centauri. That's pretty
5
incredible,
trillion
man.
miles. That's not even, I can't, what is that? Is that 12 zeros? Trillion? Is 12?
25 trillion.
25 trillion.
Trillion is 9.
Because what's a
Yeah,
billion?
that's
Is
12
it
zeros.
9
Yeah,
zeros?
billion is 9 zeros. Yeah, because a million is 6. Math.
Good
Boom.
Lord, man.
This is awesome. This has actually changed everything. Because I was thinking about hanging it up in like 22 years, but I've
Now you gotta
decided to
wait.
go ahead and live 25 plus. So sorry, America, you're gonna have to deal with me a little bit longer. This is real science. Star Wars is not science fiction.
Oh, this is awesome, though. Yeah, this is a great story.
All right, let's move on.
We gotta find Lucky. Gotta find Lucky.
You're always after me, Lucky Charms. The chase never stops.
Got that right, Lucky.
One spell of power, double me luck.
Whoa, 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 oh, oh, whoa.
You're always after me, Lucky Charms.
Whoa, whoa, oh, oh,
The chase never stops. You can double your luck with Lucky Charms. Part of a nutritious breakfast. They're magically delicious. Part of a nutritious breakfast. They're magically delicious.
Jesse's favorite part of the show.
From last week.
Hello, folks.
Derby got so mad about Travis plugging T-Mobile because T-Mobile doesn't sponsor the 86 Charles podcast. But then he goes on to say T-Mobile a few times during his T-Mobile objection rant. Here's what I'll say about T-Mobile, though. If you are looking for a podcast sponsor, what better way to get it done than to discuss T-Mobile at length? Like, go ahead and talk about T-Mobile's MLB.TV deal. Go ahead and talk about how T-Mobile has the best service from coast to coast, excluding the service of the other major carriers who will remain nameless until they become potential sponsor targets, just as T-Mobile has. But I'm sidetracked. What I really wanted to talk about was the confusion at the top of the Nickel What segment. No one seemed to know what segment it was and what order they were going in. Lots of nonsense going back and forth, and what made it so great was the sound quality coming from Travis's T-Mobile device. This is Jesse, and my favorite part of last week's podcast was brought to you by nobody yet.
It's time for the failed athlete perspective. Travis.
It's finally coming to an end. The way too long NBA regular season is almost
One of the
here.
worst,
Well,
right? One of the worst regular seasons.
The too long regular season. It hasn't been. It's been a great regular season. The
one of the
Warriors have
worst
made it
in history.
watchable. Are you kidding me? You haven't enjoyed watching the Spurs? Spurs had one of the greatest seasons of all time.
There's been two good
at
teams the
66
entire.
and
There's
15.
been two good teams the entire year, and they play in the same conference.
Yes, but two historically good teams, not just like two. It's not like two teams won 60 games.
But historically
it's
good,
like one team
because
has
others have been bad.
72 wins. Your hatred for the Golden State Warriors is
non-existent.
I'll
I
never
do not
understand.
hate the Golden State Warriors.
Sounds like
I
hate to
do
me.
not hate the Golden State
Hatred.
Warriors.
Don't hate the player.
I
the game.
hate that the rest of the league allows the Golden State Warriors to just run roughshod on them. That's what I hate. I don't hate the Warriors. I respect everything they've done, and I will tip my cap to them as the greatest team ever if they pull this off. One more win and a championship. I will absolutely bow to the altar of the Warriors. My hatred comes from the
NBA
weakness.
Let them do it. Like these guys, like the rest of the NBA just laid down and they're like, oh,
They did.
You're better than us.
That is exactly what happened.
No, they didn't.
It's not that we didn't record a failed athlete's perspective. It's just that I wanted to spare the four of you that listen having to about 20 minutes of Travis and I yelling back and forth about the Golden State Warriors.
Hogan finding Curry for 400. Yes, sir!
Not only have we had that conversation and argument before, but nobody wants to hear that.
Look at that adrenaline. That's insane.
He took a whole
Trust
new
me,
leap
we've had that argument
because
about
he worked
others.
with Steve
He's
Nash.
not the first.
Oh, he's definitely the first.
No, he's not. You're an
Definitely the
idiot.
first.
He is not the first that you've had that conversation about. Yeah, I told you. Just screaming at each other about the Golden State Warriors. It's about all we got to for about 23 minutes.
Oh, what does that even mean?
That means when
Like,
that means when
diets are
every
better,
team in the
food's
league
better,
played basketball.
Travel's better. Like they're better athletes now. Like how is that a better NBA?
Are they that
Yes.
much better? No. They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be.
Yes, they are.
We'll do better next week. But since I've got you, congratulations to the Golden State Warriors. 73 wins. That's impressive. Doesn't mean a thing without a ring. And Kobe Bryant dropping 60 points in his very last game. It's about the most Kobe Bryant thing he could have done. But don't forget, Michael Jordan's still the oldest to drop 50. Yeah, we'll be back next week with something more compelling.
All right, let's wrap this up. Say bye to Kobe. Bye, Kobe. It's been real.
Kobe Bryant and a foul. Throws it down.
Mama, there goes that man.
Check it out. Of the B-I-Z, and it goes like this. Eating a bowl of cereals on top of my list. Forget eating lunch, I like the munch on a stupid big bowl of Captain Crunch. Whether it's peanut butter crunch berries or regular, feels real good going past my jugular. I go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, eat whole box of cereal down to the
It's time for the Facebook World News Update. This Real to Someone News Update is brought to you by Spoons, the perfect serial killer. A woman in California said one thing she really regrets about our modern society is how we refuse to let people fade into obscurity. A man in Los Angeles said, "Does anyone have any excuses they can loan him? Just ran out yesterday and he needs some for tomorrow." A man in San Francisco said, "Life hack. When your ice cream starts growing ice mold, just scoop it off and proceed eating it.
Have a bowl of cornflakes, spoon them from the dish. Touch the rooster, make a wish.
I wish I could go down in Cornelia.
Good morning, boss.
Good morning, Corny.
Did you know that cornflakes were made to help stop masturbation? John Harvey Kellogg f***ing hated it when people would choke their chickens. He said,
"If illicit commerce of the sexes is a heinous sin, self-pollution is a crime doubly abominable."
We invented fun slapperoos to eat it with!
Rather than milking his snake, he went to the kitchen and baked a combination of oatmeal and corn into biscuits, and then ground it all down. He called them granular, until he got sued, then he called it granola. This was the beginning of his cereal empire.
It's the only thing I'd rather do. Back in the box, Corny.
Cornflakes.
He figured that if you had a breakfast all ready to go in the morning, he could keep you from spanking your monkey. After that failure, he suggested that boys thread silver wire through the foreskin of the penis to prevent erections, and that girls apply carbolic acid to the clitoris to burn it and discourage touching. '86 Charles salutes John Harvey Kellogg for never wanking his one-eyed weasel. Please think of this great man and do not shuck your own corn the next time you are enjoying Kellogg's brand cereals.
A man in Los Angeles said it is only Tuesday and he already wants to burn this week to the ground and salt the earth so it can never grow again. A man in California said Chewbacca's growl when Han gets stabbed is absolutely heartbreaking. So congrats to the elephant seal that originally made that noise. This Real to Someone news update is brought to you by Spoons, the perfect serial killer.
Dad's got notebooks. We don't know what's in her notebooks. She's gonna show us all her notebooks. Little yellow pad.
There's no date on this, but it's yellow notepad paper, and it's in between a bunch of other pages from December 2014. So let's say December 2014. It's a little ironic I'm making some guesses as to these dates because the subject of the pages is so specific. Because these notes here are equations. U equals 4 minus M. Uncle year equals 3M year. And when D equals U equals 3M, uncle, comma, C equals 3D monkey. So I'm trying to solve a puzzle here that I found online. And I wanted to figure it out so badly, I copied it into Word, I italicized all the important parts, I printed it out so I could write on it and totally figure it out. A monkey and his uncle are suspended at equal distance from the floor at opposite ends of a rope which passes through a pulley. I'm a little OCD when it comes to problem solving. I just need to know the answer. Coincidentally, Aaron Iceman just came to my office today and he said, "I do not like to leave problem unsolved." Exactly, Aaron Iceman. Exactly. Do not leave problem unsolved. So monkeys. Okay. I'm not going to read you the whole puzzle, but you can find it online. Suffice it to say, the meat of it is this. The uncle is twice as old as the monkey was when the uncle was half as old as the monkey will be when the monkey is 3 times as old as the uncle was when the uncle was 3 times as old as the monkey. Sure, I got it. How long is the rope? How old is the monkey? Okay, I'm thinking, this can't be that hard. I am figuring the sucker out. I like word problems. This is where if there was a script, it would say, beat, while the person thinks about this, because you know what? It's hard. There are a lot of tense changes in this puzzle. So like the monkey is twice as old as the monkey was when the uncle was, etc. So I had to pull it apart, write it all down again. It's algebra. I can't do it in my head. And don't pretend that you can. You can't do it in your head. So like B equals 1/2 C uncle and A equals 2B. Okay, this was a puzzle on Robbie Gonzalez's Gizmodo Sunday puzzle blog. I just looked it up and the article was like 11/23/2014. So I was pretty good at my guess at the top. So, I said I was OCD, but I was right. Anyway, In it, he mentions a book called How to Solve It by George Polya, who's a Hungarian mathematician, or he was. It's supposedly the second most famous book of mathematics ever written. And of course it says second because it has to be super exact. So I buy the book because I want to be the best problem solver of all time. It has absolutely nothing to do with this puzzle, of course, but I had to buy it. And here's the book right here with the monkey papers. So this book, it really teaches you how to dig into a problem, not just mathematical one. Not just a mathematical one, any kind of problem. So this is something Polya says. The first step to solving a problem is understanding the problem. So you, like me, may frequently marvel at how little people understand the problem, right? And it would be a mistake to think that solving problems is a purely intellectual affair. Determination and emotions play an important role, ... To solve a serious scientific problem, willpower is needed that can outlast years of toil and disappointment. That's important. Willpower is needed that can outlast years of toil and disappointment. That's a philosophy I can get behind. You can't just give up. It's like Vanilla Ice said. If there was a problem, I'll solve it. Check out the hook while my DJ revolves it. Yeah, I wonder if you think, like I do, that it's weird that my problem-solving homies are Aaron Iceman and Vanilla Ice. Coincidence? Or something more sinister? Anyway, this is the deal. I kind of suck at math, right? So my solution ended up with something like the uncle being 8 years old, and I didn't even get to the rope. But, since I'm so good at problem solving, I just looked up the answer. Problem solved. The monkey is, and the rope is. Yeah, no, seriously, I'm not telling you. Go figure it out. Have a nice week.
I'm the super sweet monster with the super sweet new cereal, Count Chocula.
I've brought bread
to men, women, and children.
I've brought water with lemon for the table.
I have hot tea.
Can I box that for you?
I'll bring your change.
Thing is, we used to put on minstrel shows, which, now you'd get shot for doing it, but we did then, and I'd sing, I think the last solo I did was Mama's Little Baby's Cold Black Rose. And so, I was in all the musicals and drama plays, and my music teacher, Miss Lawrenson, she asked me one time, I was just already in high school, and she asked me if I would like to go on tour. This band that she knew, their singer was pregnant and was taking a leave and wanted to know if I wanted to sing with them. So she invited them over to hear me in this minstrel show. And oh man, they were hot to trot. This is it, get her. So they came to the house, and my dad said, well, it's up to your mother. Well, you have to know I was only 16, And I was in the 12th grade. So anyway, so mother said, oh, no way, you're not going on a bus with a bunch of men. I said, Mother, there's other women there. Well, needless to say, I didn't get to go. Many years later, I was married to Carl, living downstairs. Miss Lawrenson, whose home was way up in, almost to San Francisco on the ocean. And she called me. She had to be 100 years old. And she said, Audrey, I want to tell you how sorry I am that I should have come with them. Then your mother would have let you go, or I could have even gone on tour with you. Would have been a thrill. What a chance. And I said, that's all right, Miss Lawrenson, don't worry about it. I said, it wasn't meant to be. And she said, well, it's so sweet of you. She says, but I've thought of that. I think of that all the time. Now this is what, good Lord, many years ago, and she was still thinking about it. She used to give Bing Crosby lessons. She was used to be with the movie stars. And then she kind of retired and came to work at Coalinga as my music teacher. And she was already old then.
That was What a Shock, Deb's friend, Audrey. Thanks for the story, Audrey. That was awesome.
Yeah, definitely our first about minstrel shows. Who knew?
I was unaware of what a minstrel show was or could have been. And that is the end of that.
That is the end of that. Yeah, what a crazy time, though. Could you imagine, if that was, it was like a high school theater troupe, but they just happened to be, every once in a while
doing a minstrel show.
Dressed up in blackface. Yeah, it's crazy. But
yeah. But more importantly, the crux of the story was the potential missed opportunity.
Absolutely. Have your parents ever kept you out of something that you really wanted to do?
Not necessarily like that. Not that I felt like I missed an opportunity of some kind, but I did. There was my friend. He was, I guess, quote unquote, my best friend at the time. But even then, I knew he was kind of an ass. He was going on a family vacation, and he got me super pumped up that I should go with him, and that was going to be cool. And it was ridiculous. Oh, my parents will pay, and you won't need money, this and that, and yeah, and of course, in my 3rd, 4th grade brain, made perfect sense to me. And then I pitched that one to the folks, and they were definitely not having that.
What was like their reasoning?
Well, their reason was that they couldn't afford it, and when of course I countered with, no, his parents are going to pay for everything. They said, no, we're not letting someone else's parents pay. And my mom didn't like the kid at all. She was never a fan of him, and she was right because he was a douche.
He was a bad influence.
Yeah, but she didn't know the parents at all, and she wasn't going to just up and decide, oh yeah, sure, you can go on a vacation with people I don't know.
I actually have 2 instances of this. One was one day I came home with a big baseball bag with like a glove and a bat in it, brand new from the store. And my mom caught wind of it, and she's like, where did you get this? And I got it from my buddy Andy, who lived down the street, who was like the notorious bad kid, and he had just gone to Kmart and stolen everything.
We all knew an Andy.
So I had to give that back to him. And then the other time was right after my parents got divorced. I was playing AYSO, which, are you familiar with like the difference between AYSO soccer and club soccer?
No, I mean, I played AYSO, but I don't know what the difference is between that and something else.
Exactly, because you weren't invited to the next level because you were never good enough.
I played 1 year.
I was. So yeah, I was invited to play on a much better team because I was always like the best player on my AYSO teams, and to advance my development as a soccer player, I really needed to move up to the next level. But my parents had just gotten divorced. It was going to be a lot of stress on my mom, get me to practice and stuff every day. So she said no to the club, which always kind of upset me because like I was not, I was better than everybody on my team always. So obviously I wanted to play, but club, it gets so expensive and there's weekends. I understand as a single mom, and she's got 4 kids. Obviously there's a lot going on. But there went my professional soccer career. Thanks a lot, Mom. I just wish I got a phone call from her years later or from some friend who was like, hey, like the neighbor, I should have just taken you to every practice and done everything, and then maybe you could have been the professional soccer player that you were always supposed to be.
That is crazy that her music teacher carried that with her for so long, that she felt like that she had made her miss an opportunity.
How old was she when the music teacher called her?
Well, she said that she must have been 100, but obviously she's taking a little liberty there. But significant. I mean, she was obviously significantly older, and then by the time she made that phone call, she was well into her own adulthood. So
years and years and years later, and that still came up that the could have been the thing that held her back from maybe getting a career in performing or something.
Even if she didn't think it was that grand, like maybe she didn't think she had kept her from a career opportunity, but maybe just a life experience that would have changed her.
Sounds like a great teacher,
Oh, for sure. That
really
to me was the impressive part. Was that somebody that you're not even related to? I mean, obviously she knew her well enough, and they'd probably known each other for, I'm gonna guess, decades at that point.
Right.
But to have her carry that around with her is kind of cool. She cared.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And also, I could have been not only a professional soccer player, but with that bat and that glove, who knows where my baseball career would have also went. Thanks a lot, Mom.
You would have been the best prison baseball player.
All right, John, who we got to thank?
Well, let's thank Audrey right off the bat. Appreciate that story.
Absolutely. Great story, Audrey. Thank you so much.
Which leads me to the most obvious one, Deb Loftus. You're not going to throw Jesse in there after? I was expecting you to pick that up.
Oh, you were waiting. I thought I was waiting for an adjective for Deb, but you just wanted me to go right to Jesse.
Well, I thought you were gonna jump in. I thought we were in sync on that one.
We're totally out of sync today.
I know.
Because
It goes back to the NBA conversation. It just ruined, and I haven't slept.
Your hatred of the evolution of the game has really changed everything. But Jesse, thank you so much. Big shout out to Rick, as always.
Always.
Up in Alaska. When are you going to make that trip to Alaska, John?
Probably the same time he makes the trip to Sacramento.
Although, yeah, as you move north, you're getting a little closer.
Although we did actually talk about meeting in San Francisco at some point.
Oh, that's really a nice halfway point for both of you.
Well, no, but he was talking. He has some sort of arrangement that he can fly there or something. I don't remember what it was.
Right.
But
And San Francisco is a great city. So, have you been to San Francisco before?
I've been there, but I didn't spend a ton of time in the actual city. But I went and saw a Sharks game, went and saw a Niners game at the old stadium.
Nice. Right.
And then
Candlestick
spent a
Park.
little bit of time tooling around the city. It was cool. It's a good city.
Excellent. Well, yeah, hopefully you can meet up there. It's a great place, and you can get really amazing Chinese food as well. I'm sure with every other kind of great food in San Francisco.
Go to Chinatown to get Chinese food, and then go to Little Italy, get some Italian?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Where can he find us? Where can the people find us, John Derby?
Well, start in your heart, and then immediately go to 86charles.com.
Ooh, I like that. 86charles.com.
It's 86charles.com.
On the Twitters and the Instagrams, we're at Company Blaster. You can find us on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on the Stitcher app. We're on iTunes. We are everywhere.
On the minds of perverts.
Hopefully.
Well, every time.
John Derby.
Yes.
As always, even though you don't deserve it, because of your hatred of the evolution of the game, I'm going to let you have the last word.
Effort.
Bah!
The new boy in the neighborhood lives downstairs and it's understood. He's there just to take good care of me, like he's one of the family. Charles in charge of our days and our nights. Charles in charge of our wrongs and our rights. And I see